Welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara Breen. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Zoe Lyons and Russell Howard, Seann Walsh, Hugh Dennis and Milton Jones. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a typical picture of Peter Mandelson. But what does MBAL stand for?
Is it Mandelson blatantly a lizard?
Is it my briefs are leather?
Is it everything he enjoys? Is it muckraking, bullshitting and leaving?
It's actually his nicknames for Brown and Blair. It's Man Boobs and Ladyboy.
Is it just a list of his favourite things? Is it millionaires, billionaires, aristocrats and lords?
Is it Mandelson Burns adorable Labradors?
Is it?
It's just a joke. He's not actually doing it.
Is it just simply Mr. Bond at last?
I know what this is. It's what he requested on Desert Island Discs. It was Michael Bublé and lubrication.
How gutted would he be if lubrication were like a jazz band?
I reckon it's Mykonos, booked already, love.
Mandelson Burns a leprechaun?
Certainly not.
Sorry.
I look out for you all. I look out for you all. No one will be burning you on my watch. Oh no, I've slipped into a stereotype. I'd like to apologise to the people of Ireland. The correct answer is
Mandelson's book, Anger's Labour.
Congratulations, very good. Well done. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Mandelson's book, Anger's Labour. This is a story that Lord Mandelson's newly published memoirs have rocked the Labour Party by revealing how little faith the cabinet had in Gordon Brown and by revisiting the war between Blair and Brown.
But the thing is, like, have you read any of it? We were promised juicy gossip. That's what he said. What was the first revelation? Brown and Blair don't get on. Really? We want juicy details. What I want to know is how mad was Brown towards the end of the election? I bet you there was one day where they found him in his room surrounded by dead weasels and he was just dressed as Lady Gaga.
But then various members of the Labour Party said they were going to try and stop him publishing his memoirs. But of course, the only way to stop Mandelson is a little bit of garlic and a stake through the heart. That man is so oily that if he went for a swim in the Atlantic, BP would be off the hook.
Hang on a minute. Mandelson appears to be dressed as the compere the meerkat for some reason.
Yeah, this is the notion that he advertised them. They were serialised in the Times, and they advertised them for it. Pitched as a fairy tale, there were these two mighty kings and then an evil... Who are we in this situation? Are we the villagers in this story? I am Shrek, I know. I'm an idiot. I know where I fit in the fairy tale scheme.
It's weird to think he's the son of Nelson Mandela.
Grandad, we love you. I find it really difficult to take seriously because that bit, I don't know if you've seen the advert, but he says, "Are you sitting comfortably?" And the trouble is, I was thinking my mate Tom at school, so he was about 7, and the teacher went, "Are you sitting comfortably?" He went, "Not really, miss, I've got worms."
What do we find out about the coalition negotiations, though? I mean, let's there were some revelations.
There was. We found out
right?
apparently that Clegg told Brown he had to go.
Yes.
But it hasn't done Clegg any favours, is it? He's now more unpopular than he's ever been. He couldn't have been more unpopular if he'd formed a coalition with North Korea, Fabio Capello and Piers Morgan.
Yes, Clegg was the executioner. Clegg went to the meeting and told Brown, "You have to go." And Brown said, "I will only stay for a year." Then he said, "I'll go in October." Then he said, "I'll just hang around for the transition until we get a new leader." It was literally short of the point where we're going, "Go!" And he's going, "You'll not notice me. I'll just be in the corner. Don't make me go. No, just hover. I'll be going. I'm not even here. I'm not even here."
What we wanted to know is what pranks did Brown leave behind? Because you would totally mess around. If cameras coming in, like, right, cling foam over every toilet seat. Change all the phone numbers to sex lines, put some prawns in the curtains, everyone stand back, I'm going to curl one out on the desk. You wouldn't, that's the first thing I'd do.
All the others are pranks. All the others are like, no. But pooing on the desk is not a prank.
You are massively reducing your chances of ever selling a house.
Which senior Conservative has come under attack this week?
This is Michael Gove.
It is Michael Gove.
They're delightful.
He's a very weird-looking man. He looks to me like a cross between Skeletor, E.T. and Stewie from The Family Guy.
He looks like a balloon whose corks come out, and you can expect him to go around the room going...
He's basically produced a list of schools that are actually going to lose their buildings or they aren't going to have new buildings built. And turned out it had 25 mistakes on it. Now, as the Education Secretary, I think he should write that list out 100 times until he gets it right.
How has David Cameron irritated teachers this week?
Because he said that he's terrified of state schools. He's terrified of sending his kids to state, which is fair enough, because if Michael Gove carries on the way he is, quite a lot of them are going to be structurally quite dangerous.
What he needs to do is to get Nick Clegg's son at the same school as his son, and then David Cameron's son would have a little servant.
They did reveal, didn't they, that apparently only 18 teachers in the last 40 years have actually been sacked. And you're thinking, well, that's an amazing thing. They'll have to change that saying, won't they? You know, those who can do, those who can't teach, and those who can't teach, they teach as well.
But what is this week? One from Ofsted let slip that she thinks is an excellent thing for bad
This
teachers.
is incredible.
That's right. She said, didn't she, that every school needs one shit teacher. And you're thinking, if that's the case, we have got a lot of schools that are centres for excellence.
The phrase, it was an Ofsted woman called Zena Atkins of Ofsted who's quoted in the Sunday Times as saying, one really good thing about primary school is that every kid learns to deal with a really shit teacher. So adding, every grown-up in a workplace needs to learn to deal with the moron who sits 4 desks down.
It's the first time that people can get a job whilst telling the truth on their CV. Interested in hobbies, drinking. Why do you want this job? So I can pay my bills and get Sky Plus. And why do you think you're good for this job? I'm not. I'm shit both on my own and as part of the team.
How can you be a bad primary school teacher, you know? All you've got to do is a bit of a collage and read them a book.
But I also remember there's a lot of going to sleep on the desk, where they get the entire class. I don't know if this happened here, where they get the entire class to put their head on their hands for a long period of time. And you just had your head there, and they're going, hang on, what was that? What was that a hangover thing? Was that like you heard this going, I am sick of these asshole kids, right?
But apparently it teaches you to deal with incompetence. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
As if you know what incompetence is when you're at primary school, you're 7 years old. You know, when I was 7, I wanted to be a cat. You know? You can't deal with incompetence. You believe anything an adult says. My mate, right, his mum had a lock on a cupboard underneath the stairs. She told him there was a bear under the stairs. Whenever he was naughty, she'd get a key out, go towards him, like, ah! Years later, he finally opened it. He was about 14. He was genuinely going, what if there is a bear? So that thing, like, it's not a bear, it might be a bear. Went in, there wasn't a bear. So do you know what he did? Generally true, right? He got some rope and a bear costume, and he made it look like the bear had hung himself and then locked the cupboard.
Do you know what that is? That is a prank,
Yes.
my friend. The points again that round go to Russell, Zoe and Andy. Our next round is called Newsreel. We play in a